Well, good morning, and thank you all for joining us for this news conference today. We are here to share some really exciting news. Bloomberg Philanthropies has awarded the City of Lincoln a $400,000 grant for what we are calling our Lincoln Biochar Initiative. Now, we are just one of 3 cities in the United States selected to receive this funding. And on behalf of the City of Lincoln, I want to thank Bloomberg Philanthropies for their generous support of our efforts to advance key goals of our Climate Action Plan and our Resilient Lincoln Initiative. Together with our partners, Lincoln is innovating to develop solutions that reduce our carbon footprint, create economic opportunity, extend the life of our landfill, and improve the soil we rely on to grow. So now, before getting to the details, some of you may be thinking, what the heck is biochar? Biochar is charcoal made from organic waste, like trees and plants, heated at very high temperatures with very little oxygen. And this process results in a carbon-rich charcoal with many benefits to our environment, including plant growth, water retention, fertilizer reduction, carbon sequestration, waste management, and soil health. As Nebraskans, we realize the importance of the soil. The fertility of our soil determines the health of our land, and the health of our land determines the future of our state and our community, a future with challenges and opportunities that we want to embrace. So through the work of our Climate Action Plan and Resilient Lincoln Initiative, our city is committed not only to reducing carbon emissions that contribute to climate change, but also to preparing for the effects of climate change. And biochar is one of the ways we can achieve both. Here's how this new award will help us do that. In recent years, as many understand, the emerald ash borer has killed millions of ash trees in North America. And this invasive pest is already in Lincoln and will continue to decay our supply locally of ash trees. And while this presents an obvious challenge, it also presents an opportunity. These dying ash trees are also an abundant supply of organic waste that we can transform into a valuable feedstock for biochar production. And perhaps more importantly, when we convert this tree waste into biochar, we prevent carbon dioxide from re-entering the atmosphere, and we return it back to enrich our public spaces far into the future. Biochar can help the economy in Lincoln too, because through this grant, we are exploring its potential for agricultural carbon credits, recovery and resale of energy byproducts, and direct sale to gardeners and farmers. This award would not be possible without a really strong team. And we have with us today several members of that remarkable team, including Lincoln Transportation and Utilities Director Liz Elliott. Liz and her team at LTU are key to ensuring the success of this initiative. And with that, I'd like to invite Director Elliott up to the podium.
Thank you, Mayor. We are excited and honored by this Bloomberg Philanthropies Award. Our solid waste management team's vision to develop sustainable programs that advance the city's climate action plan continues to break boundaries and advance the community's opportunities to give back to Mother Nature. The Lincoln Biochar Initiative includes LTU, Parks and Recreation Department, neighborhood organizations, the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, Nebraska Forest Service, and Natural Resources Conservation Service, more commonly known as NRCS. This unique material improves soil quality, offers less water runoff, and requires less chemicals to grow. Managing our waste is key to Lincoln's resiliency now and in the future. By reusing our tree waste and other resources already present in our lives, we help save landfill space, create jobs to collect and process the materials, conserve and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Our dedicated staff put us in a strong position to incorporate biochar more heavily into our soil in the near future. In fact, LTU and its partners are already working on trial uses of biochar with a few local organizations. As you can see on your screen, Community Crops is currently using the city's biochar on some of its crops. At one of Lincoln's most popular tourist destinations, Volunteers at the Sunken Gardens incorporate biochar into the soil there. And over at the Holly Historic District 12, near North 25th and T Streets, neighbors are using biochar to enhance the Holly Hamlet urban agricultural garden. Biochar is a somewhat newer resource growing in popularity. To assist with education, the team can be spotted engaging with community at local sustainability events as demand for biochar grows. We will continue to work together with project partners and other city departments to generate positive outcomes from this initiative. Speaking of generating, one of the key first steps will be to install new technology that transforms biomass into biochar at LTU's Solid Waste Management Facility on North 48th Street Transfer Station. Biochar is proven to increase soil quality, reduce soil runoff, and reduce the need for chemicals on crops and plants. We plan to utilize the biochar's natural benefits and apply it to more mediums across the city. Examples of uses include mixing the materials into mulch for tree plantings, use as a soil amendment on city-owned farmland, and incorporate it into some of our stormwater mitigation practices. Our research partners at the University of Nebraska and the Nebraska Forest Service have spent nearly 10 years testing and analyzing biochar. They will provide vital technical support and performance management along the way. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Director Elliott, and to your team at LTU. And I just want to acknowledge that every project, especially this kind of innovative, comprehensive project, needs a quarterback to lead the charge. And Frank Ularek, who is also with Lincoln Transportation Utilities, has been ours on this one. And so I'd now like to invite him up to share a few more details about the initiative. Frank?
Thank you, Mayor. And any quarterback that's worth his weight in gold has all the support of a general manager, Mayor, Coach, Liz, and a fantastic team around them, many of the folks that are in the room today. But yeah, we're quite pleased that Lincoln's one of just 7 cities around the world to have received this award. One of the competitive advantages is our network of urban agricultural plots and practitioners, one of which is here today, Tim Renna with Holly Hamlet. Megan McGuffey couldn't make it, but Community Crops, another of our consistent partners in testing biochar. We'll partner with local food organizations to test biochar's ability to improve soil fertility, increase soil moisture retention, and a potential range of other potential benefits. On a larger scale, we plan to incorporate biochar as a soil amendment on city-managed farmland, which includes row crops and hay ground. We already have a good local project to utilize biochar. Last year, some of you may be aware, we got an $800,000 EPA brownfields grant to assess and clean up brownfields in the West and South Haymarket. One of the sites of the grant targeted areas is contemplated as gardening operation where we'll pilot the use of biochar. In addition to revitalizing important neighborhoods, this award expands the terrain on which biochar can enrich urban agriculture and address local food security in densely populated areas. Thank you all. Mayor?
Thank you, Frank. We have another key partner in the Nebraska Forest Service, and I want to acknowledge and thank them for their $100,000 contribution toward our biochar efforts. And here now to share more about how they will contribute to the Lincoln Biochar Initiative is Adam Smith, Forestry and Fire Bureau Chief with the Nebraska Forest Service. Adam, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. Today is a special day for the City of Lincoln and community forestry in general. Trees and forests provide their most significant benefit to humanity when they are strong and healthy, providing clean air to breathe, food to eat, habitat for wildlife, water to drink, and shade on a hot day. However, when faced with environmental factors such as drought, heat, and severe storms, or insects such as the emerald ash borer, community trees don't often get the opportunity to fulfill their life's work, and they must be removed. By creating biochar from the removed trees and other urban wood waste, the Lincoln Biochar Initiative will put these trees back to work for the community and surrounding areas by addressing critical climate-related environmental challenges, including soil health and water quality. The Nebraska Forest Service works with businesses, communities, researchers, and homeowners to identify ways to create biochar or create wood products from dead trees and community wood waste rather than that material be pile burned or landfilled. In 2016, we began a multi-state partnership with others in the Great Plains to promote the use of biochar as a solution to our wood waste issues. In 2018, we worked with the Lincoln Public Schools to provide woodworking students with lumber produced from trees that had been removed from across Lincoln. In 2020, we brought together artisans, including some of those students, and concerned citizens to showcase furniture and other woodworking projects that had been created from urban lumber, and also discuss the impacts of declining ash trees from across the city. Today, we are excited to continue our partnership with the City of Lincoln through the Lincoln Biochar Initiative to solve big problems and help achieve the city's climate goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. We are fortunate to have experts at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln in our backyard, and one of those is Dr. Michael Kaiser, an agronomy professor with expertise in soil health and biochar. In addition to his time and talents, Dr. Kaiser will mentor students who will contribute to this initiative. And I'd now like to invite Dr. Kaiser up to say a few words. Please welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very excited to be a part of this biochar, Lincoln Biochar Initiative, which really brings us to a point where we can put this biochar work to a next level, especially with the synergies and interactions with this many different stakeholders under the leadership of the city of Lincoln. At UNL, we are doing biochar research. So I, by myself, I am in the biochar research since 2010 in different positions in Germany and the US. Especially looking into carbon sequestration, but also nitrate retention in soil mediated by biochar. But at UNL, we have several colleagues working in biochar research since several years. That's Dr. Blanco from Agronomy and Horticulture, looking into improvement of low fertile soils. Dr. Hu from Civil and Environmental Engineering, looking into biochar and its improvement of concrete. And then Dr. Watson and Dr. Erickson from Animal Sciences, looking into biochar as an addition to cattle feed and as a conditioner for feed lots to improve nutrient retention. And this is also a big opportunity to engage with the community, to bring our students in. All the professors work in several projects supervising undergraduate and graduate students. And this is also a big opportunity for us to do more research on urban application or application of biochar in urban soils. So this is an exciting endeavor, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. Thank you.
Well, thank you to you and everyone at UNL for your support and leadership and innovation. As we all are seeing more and more across the globe and locally right here in Lincoln, the next generation, the younger generations and next generation of leaders are particularly concerned about climate change and the impacts that they will face going into the future. And they are very committed to actions that mitigate its effects. One of those individuals in our community is Nash Leaf, who's an environmental health intern with our city and a biochar enthusiast. New term, but I'm sure it will become more popular into the future. Nash, why don't you come on up and share a few words?
Thank you, Mayor. Climate change is arguably the greatest threat facing our generation. Lincoln will face many challenges in my lifetime, and I expect to be here to see them through. Lincoln is my adopted home. My family has been out in the South Platte River Valley for 128 years, row cropping, and I personally own a farm just south of town. And biochar presents a nature-based solution that can help us to curb the effects of a changing climate, such as increased precipitation events and increased soil runoff. It is also a powerful source for connections between urban forestry, carbon sequestration, and urban agriculture. I can personally vouch for the efficacy of this material as I work on it almost every day, and it is truly incredible on scales both small and large. It has been my pleasure to work with so many great gardeners across the city of Lincoln in the development of this project, one of whom is in the room today, Tim from Holly Hamlet, but also with Megan McGuffey and Amy Gertis and Shahab from Community Crops, as well as Molly from Southern Heights Food Forest, and Steve Nosal from City Lincoln Horticulture, and of course our incredible researchers at UNL. We have all seen the impact that biochar can have on our soils here in Lincoln, and it is immense. Lincoln will see many challenges in the coming years due to our changing climate, and I am proud to see our city rising to tackle these threats that climate change poses. Thank you.
Thank you, Nash. To sum up, biochar increases the resilience of our land, air, water, and plants. And increasing resilience is at the heart of our city's efforts to build a climate-smart future. Our Lincoln Biochar Initiative will enable us to convert a steady supply of local organic waste in the form of ash trees into a potent source of sustainable growth. And when you think about it, if Shel Silverstein could write a final chapter in The Giving Tree, he might have called it biochar. With that, we'd love to point out that you can find more information about this initiative at lincoln.ne.gov/biochar, and we'd be happy to entertain any questions from the media. And I'm going to be happy to direct you to experts who can really explain the details. Any questions?
Mayor, first we have a...
Oh.
This is Margaret from the Journal Star. Can you hear me?
Grown in the Holly Hamlet in biochar amended soils. So.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. My kids are going to love this. Actually, they do. All right, I'm just going to hold my bouquet as we take questions. Go ahead, Margaret.
I have a great soup recipe for kale. Anyway.
I would love it.
How much can you, if my microphone is a little funky, so if you've already said this, I apologize, but where are you producing biochar now? And with this initiative, I think you're opening a new plant. Could you just repeat where it's being produced now? And I'm also interested in how much you're producing now and what you expect to produce with this initiative.
I'm going to ask our quarterback to come back up, but I will say that this grant is going to largely it's going to be spent on the equipment we need to scale up our production, and we're really excited about that opportunity. Frank, do you want to come up?
Yes, Margaret. We're not currently producing biochar. I should clarify that. That's about a year off in our feasibility study to be completed in design and procurement. But we actually sourced 20 tons of biochar from an Oregon biochar entity out, obviously, in Oregon Northwest. Nebraska Forest Service paid for the transportation, thankfully, and Nash has been distributing that through the community crops, Holly Hamlet, others for use. We have about 8 to 10 tons still on hand to distribute and do further research and development with. Hopefully that answers your question, Margaret.
Yeah, there was how much initially? I'm sorry. How much did you have shipped in?
Donated by Oregon Biochar, and we have roughly half of that yet to distribute and reuse.
Okay, and then where will you be? You're buying equipment so you can produce it yourself, correct? And that'll be where?
Tentatively siting it at the North 48th Street Solid Waste Facility. That seems to have a lot of the attributes we'd like to stage the operation at, but we may look at others just as a fallback in case that's not the best site.
And how much do you expect once this gets underway? How much do you expect to be able to produce?
The equipment we're looking at is generally, if operated on a 24/7 basis, could have 600 or 700 tons produced per year. But we're trying to temper our expectations with some trial periods to get it up and running and fine-tuning it, maybe a couple hundred tons the first year, ramping up in later years.
Great. I have one more question. That this is going to be, you're going to use the ash trees, right, that have had to come down. I'm trying to look for like how many trees have you taken down and how many are you going to take down?
You know, I'd refer to Parks and Rec. They monitor it to the tree throughout the community. But I would say that actually ash trees, though that's one of the primary components, it's maybe only 10-20% of the entire feedstock when you look at all the tree removal on an annual basis. That'll dwindle in time after the ash trees are eradicated, but that's part of the plan right now is to focus on the ash trees along with others.
Okay. Thank you.
Questions from the media?
I have one other quick question. The 100,000 from the National Forest Service, is that part of the 400,000 grant from Bloomberg Philanthropies?
That's in addition.
Or is that in addition?
That's in addition, but and it was part of the commitment we were showing to, when we applied for these funds. But Frank, do you want to come up and speak more about the funding application?
Yes, and actually the contribution from the Nebraska Forest Service was put towards the $400,000 match that the city had to put up for the Bloomberg grant. So that was, doubly beneficial to us. But the 100,000, about 12,000 was spent on the transport of the biochar that was donated from Oregon, and 80,000 is being put towards the feasibility study and design elements to get us ready to procure the equipment. There's a balance of 7,000 or so that we're keeping in reserve for other contingencies.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Dan, are you getting one? No? No? Okay. Well, if there are no more questions, I just want to say thank you again to the many important partners we have in this project. And I want to acknowledge that some of my colleagues from the City Council are here. Tom Beckius and Councilman Benny Schob have arrived. They have helped us accomplish our climate action plan's passage that is helping to drive the vision for this work. And we are so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you again to Bloomberg Philanthropies. And with that, we'll see you next time.